What's up, YouTube? This is Foxtel Digital coming to you again with Black Girl Stocks, and this is another segment of our top 3 option plays this week, where we're just going to go over a few different trades, stock technical analysis, and different strategies that you can do to make it through. But first, let's do a recap of last week's trade. And the first one, we were looking at a bullish position on WFC, but I mean, pretty much we can see that it had a pretty interesting breakout, that morning. So if you got into that and got a little profit, that's pretty much what that was. But it continued in that downtrend. Just going into next week though, let's keep our eye on the daily chart, and we can see that we have been in a pretty strong uptrend, and it did recently have a move down to that 50-period moving average. So going into what our expiration date wasn't until 2025. So I think we have some good time with Wells Fargo. This is definitely one of the bank stocks for WFC calls. Next, we were looking at puts on plug. Okay, and so check it out here. This was about Monday, and we definitely had some pretty good movement on Monday. Tuesday, it started to move back up, but then Wednesday, we continued moving down further. So just going in, what was that? Our expiration date was March 15th. So, we may have some room for this. So yeah, when we were looking at this, the premium was around 0.70. Honestly, on that Monday, it went up to about 0.88. So, there was a little bit of profit to gain, not too much, but that's okay. Now, this one definitely moved pretty well last week. So we were looking at calls on American Airlines. And so when we were looking at it, it was around $14.30. We can definitely see it didn't do too much on Monday, but on that Tuesday, because I remember I got that alert, and I actually posted in the Discord group, and I said, man, American is definitely moving this morning. So when we were looking at it, the option contracts were around $1.13. So you see it actually had a drop on that Monday. So we actually got it a little bit cheaper on Tuesday, and it ended up reaching about 1.28 from that, that started around, let's just say we started around 0.90. All right, and now let's get into this week's trades. Okay, so the first stock that I want to look at is CS. So this is going to be a bullish position. Now, what I want you to see is, let's start up here on the daily chart. You can see using our 50 and our 200 period moving averages here that we have been in a pretty decent uptrend. I don't know why I have the super trend on here also, but the super trend is pretty interesting. What is this? Okay, so we did have a little sell signal here. One thing that I'm interested in, okay, so you can see our prices here around this 50. Now look above it here. You see this is our volume profile indicator on the side, and this dotted white line here, that's our POC, the point of control. So we've had around 799 or 700 million in trading volume around this price at 51.80. So that's essentially above where our price is right now. And a lot of times with these high volume areas and clusters or nodes, a lot of times they act like magnets, okay? And so I'm wondering if it's going to bring the stock right back on up there, to around that 52 area. So that's kind of something interesting. Now, what I also like is moving down here to our 4-hour chart, okay, our intermediate. You can see our RSI isn't too oversold, so it's kind of neutral around 50. And we're also here looking, I love the volume profile, child. It's one of my favorite indicators. Volume is everything, but you can kind of see we're at another high volume point here. Now you can see previously we consolidated around this area, around this 50 for a while before we had that strong break up to 52. Now I'm wondering if we're going to continue in that potential pattern, consolidate here for a little bit, and continue that break out up to that 52. So that's kind of something that we're looking into going into next week. Now, if I was going to have an entry, I would probably have my entry probably around $50.25. That's just, somewhere of a resistance that we were reaching on Friday. So kind of seeing the stock break above that with strong volume would definitely, be good for that position. So as far as the actual position, honestly, this is kind of a short-term trade. So you can just think of this as maybe a little day trade for next week. But February 16th for the expiration date, and we're looking at the 51 calls. Okay, so the premium is decent. It's around 99 to 95. Delta is very cute, 0.4. Theta is decent. Considering it's so close to expiration, that's interesting. Now the volume and open interest is beautiful. But with the volume being higher than open interest, I'm wondering if this was potentially better as a day trade. So just kind of be mindful of that. Another thing, also, if you kind of wanted to extend it out a little bit, you can also look at the February 23rd expiration date. And for that one, I'm going to look at the 51. We can still do the 51. It's a little bit more expensive, but we have more, you know, time value with our expiration date pushed back. Ooh. Volume and open interest is weak though, so that's the only thing I'm not interested in. But yeah, so just kind of keep that on your radar for next week. I think I would rather stick with the February 16th expiration date though. Okay, so next up is going to be a bullish position on KRE. It's a regional banking ETF, and right now it's trading at $47.87. Okay, so interesting thing to note, this is a little different, but for a while it looks like we've been in a pretty strong downtrend, probably starting around May of 2022. But interestingly enough, right around December of last year, we popped up above that 50 period moving average, as well as the 200 period moving average, and the 50 period moving average crossed above the 200. So we have a lot of things going here. That's a pretty good bullish sign. Now, it looks like the stock did kind of move below the 50 period just here recently in February, but I'm kind of wondering, you know, these candlestick patterns look like we could have returned at least to around this 50 period moving average, around $50.39. That's not to say that it's going to have a bullish break, but I could just really see it working its way back there. A lot of high volume up here. Moving down to our favorite time frame, the 4-hour chart. Beautifully done, beautifully done. You see the stock is down here. This red line, this represents the value area low. So it's kind of looked at as a support area. So, oh my gosh, this is gorgeous. Wow. Look at this high volume node, high volume POC up here around $51.33. So you can kind of see we had, I think that's 27 million in trading volume here. I'm wondering if it's going to act like a magnet and scoop this thing right on up, back up here to this 51. Okay. So, even speaking with that, look at that super trend indicator right here with the red. That's going to be around $48.50. So if I was going to get into a bullish position on KRE, I would probably have my entry around 48, but honestly, like 48.50 would be perfect, just because we would have crossed above, you know, this resistance area that we have back from the 2nd of February. So if you're a little bit less risky, you can have your entry around 48.50, but for me, oh, well, it's really going to depend what happens during after hours and pre-market. We closed around $47.97. Definitely keep KRE on your watch list for next week. For KRE, we're looking back at March 15th. For the calls, I would say let's do the $48 call. So you see it's around $180. Delta is extremely cute, 0.5 for the delta. Theta is extremely low. Look at that volume and open interest, child. Wow. And the implied volatility is good. So this definitely could be something cute going into next week. Just make sure you have your alert set, and let's get jiggy. Now, last up is going to be MU, okay? And that's, what is that, Micron Technology, okay? We all know that's one of the big chip stocks. So you already know what we're gonna do. Let's start off with the daily chart. You can see we've been in an extremely strong uptrend. Now, we reached this peak of $90.40. That was around January the 25th. And it looks like we had a little pullback down to the 50 period moving average, that white line, but we have not crossed that super trend. So I'm wondering if, you know, we're going to continue in this strong trend. Interesting. Now, one thing I don't love, that we may have a potential bearish divergence here with our MACD indicator. And so that's basically when the price is making higher highs and, you know, our indicator is making lower highs. So that could be a potential for a bearish reversal in this trend. So definitely keep your eyes out on that. But right now, we're just anticipating a continuation in the trend, but just keep an eye out for that potential reversal, bearish reversal. Now, going down here to the 4-hour chart, I like the way this looks. if this is a perfect picture right here. Just, you can literally frame that. Okay, stock is in an uptrend. Right now we are sitting pretty at the point of control, our favorite area, okay, where we had the highest trading volume around, what is that, 37 million? This looks like a pretty normal distribution curve. This is a great indication that we could continue in this uptrend. RSI looks pretty neutral to me. I'm loving it around 50, 51, so it could go either way here. So for me, if I was going to have a bullish position, probably be around $85.80 to that, just the even 86. Those are just some higher wicks that we had from last week, and seeing the stock cross above those areas with high volume would definitely make me interested in jumping into a bullish position on MU. Now, as far as the actual contract for MU, I'm looking at May 17th expiration date. And so for this one, we're going to be looking at the $100 calls here. Okay, now I know the premium is a little, it's a little up there. It's a little loud. It's around 200, but check this out. Premium is gorgeous. This type of stock, this stock is gonna have some movement. It's gonna have some volume. Honestly, you guys, that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, you found it helpful, make sure that you click that thumbs up button for me. It really helps the channel. Also subscribe. And if you haven't already, make sure you check out this video that we just posted on how many indicators should you use on your charts. Okay, so it's kind of a pretty interesting thing. Make sure you check that out. How many indicators do you use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below, but definitely check out that video, and I'll catch you on the next one.